All right, call halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakadash. Double honors for the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who's doing well. And peace and salutations to the elect. Basically, just wanted to do, real quick video on self, to examine yourself, and just getting precepts on that topic, because, hey, all hell's breaking loose. And, we need to be on a certain level of faith, on a certain level of spirituality. And, we got different demons, different things that are going to be trying to hold us back in this flesh, so it's crucial now more than ever, that, hey, when this stuff really pops off, that, hey, we make sure that we have the faith, we have the level of faith required, that we're, spiritually and mentally ready, so I just want to get a few scriptures on examining, yourself. All right, and I'm gonna start it off with, the main one, that comes to all of our mind is 2 Corinthians 13 and 5. It says, examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith, prove your own selves, know ye not your own selves, how that Yahweh Shai HaMashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates. So hey, yeah, know that the, Yahweh Shai, the Spirit is in us, man. And it said, but the point was examine yourselves, right? Whether you be in the faith, because some people fall out the faith and they don't even know it, And it's important that we're constantly examining ourselves. Which, let me get that word examine. All right, examine.
Strong's G 3985, Pyrazzo.
All right, it's that.
Pyrazzo.
It says to try whether a thing can be done, to attempt, to make trial. The Strong's, it says to test. So basically, yeah, you got to test yourself sometimes, give yourself mental tests, give yourself tasks, see whether you accomplish it, and if you don't, see why, basically test yourself, mentally test yourself, examine, evaluate, your actions, and see what you could have done better, in the spirit, of course, and see what's holding you back. You know what I mean? I myself personally notice, that when I'm in a certain condition, a rather slothful spirit can be on me, and I was just thinking, I was examining myself and I came to that conclusion, So it's important to, examine ourselves, because we always got something that we can fix, in this flesh, like the scriptures say, the flesh is constantly warring against the spirit. You know what I mean? So our flesh is constantly trying to make us go off, man. So we got to examine this flesh and see what we can do better, for our spirits. All right. This is Lamentations 3 and 40. It says, let us search and try our ways and turn again to the Lord. Basically the same point, examining yourself, search and try our ways, so test yourself, however, through the Spirit, you want to do it. We got to search out our ways, Let me go for that Hebrew word for search. Or actually, I think try would be better. All right. Try, it says chakwar. It's a little tough one. It says chakwar. All right. That seems like a cha and a kwa and a ra. So chakwar, it says to search out, examine. And yeah, so that would basically, I believe that's a Hebrew word for examine, to try. All right. Chakwar. This is to search out, examine, Hey, so you got to search out your ways, search out, yourself, because we're all different, you know what I mean? Yeah, we're all part of the same body, but, the Lord has us, fighting different fights, you know what I mean? So you can't always, you can look to other brothers for advice, but at the end of the day, this is a, personal thing where you got to, search out yourself, essentially. But let me keep getting these scriptures, James 1 and 23, and this has to do with pushing the word, man. Because a lot of people claim you still got a lot of men watching these videos, and a lot of people watching videos, but you're not going out there, pushing, all right, the word on the highways and the byways, man. And that should cause for examination. All right, do you truly believe? All right, are you willing to go out on the front lines? Offer your body as a living sacrifice. This is James 1 and 23. It says, "For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was." So you just look in the mirror and forgot who you were. So they basically saying, if you're a hearer of the word and not a doer, what are you really doing? Do you really believe? You know what I'm saying? Or are you just faking it, essentially? Like I said, he looked in the mirror and forgot straight away who he was. You're reading these words, but then you're not applying them. We all know Romans 12 and 1, man. So hey, you got to be a hearer of the word, and a doer, So hey, and that calls for, if you're in this predicament, if you're a hearer of the word and not a doer, hey, that calls for self-examination, man. Self-examination, all right. Reason within yourself, because all of us had to come to the conclusion that, like, hey, look, this is the truth, man. And we find out the truth. We heard the brothers on the highways and on YouTube, and then we came home and did our own research, and we came to the conclusion that, hey, this is the truth of life. So that being said, you got to give it all you got, man. All right, hey, because we're constantly trying to push towards hey, we're following after Yahweh Shai, which Yahweh Shai was that perfect man. All right, now we're never going to achieve perfection in this flesh, but what the scriptures say, seek for the mastery. So we're constantly seeking and striving to be perfect, putting on the fruits of the spirit and different things like that. All right. Now let me get just one last one. Galatians 6 and Galatians 6 and 3. For it says, "For if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone, and not in another." And I wanted to go into the different the different translation the different Bibles in this verse, because this is one of the precepts, it's a little bit more easier to explain in the different transliterations. You shouldn't go to the different transliterations, and breaking down things like, prophecy and deep, dark sayings. But when it's scriptures like these, that have to do with, how we should conduct ourselves, all right? I was just looking at let me see what that is. I'm just going to look at the ESV, but it says, "But let each one test his own work, and then his reason to boast will be in himself alone and not in his neighbor." That's basically what that verse was saying, Galatians 6 and 4, "But let every man prove his own work." Let every man, test his own work, and that goes into the topic of the video is what? Self-examining yourself. You know what I mean? Self-examining yourself, testing yourself, and then it said, "And then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone and not in another," because you'll feel accomplished, when you actually did something and you worked towards it and you got it done, and like verse 3 said, all right, it says, "For if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. And a man who thinks himself to be something when he is nothing is someone who's not examining himself, because you're basically, getting full of pride. You know what I mean? And hey, when that pride spirit comes, it's because you're not looking, you're not looking at yourself. Like I was just watching, the apostles were out live, and Apostle Gabar was saying every time you catch hell, just think that, they just know that you sinned in your past life. You sinned in your past life. And you don't know what different sins you did in your past life. I basically bring that out to say that we're all catching hell. We're all going through different trials and tribulations. So there's no need to think yourself to be something, when you are nothing, man. So it all ties back into, trying yourself, examining yourself, whether you be in the faith. But I just wanted to go into a few precepts, going into that. Lord's willing, this was edifying, giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakakudash, Shalom.